Hi, homeschool mamas. I am excited to release today's podcast. Today's podcast is an interview with my daughter. Out of all the podcast episodes I've done, this one goes down in the definitely most difficult to interview because there were a few tears. Congratulations to my daughter Madelyn on her high school homeschool graduation. We had the full ceremony and the full day last Saturday, and today you get to hear who this gal is and all that she has done over the course of her years, why she's in homeschooling high school, why she didn't decide to go into high school, the public school version. She actually was a 6-year-old kindergarten dropout, and she was a 16-year-old college entry student. We're going to talk about her interests, very diverse interests. So she went anywhere from thinking she was going to become a chef, maybe open a restaurant, maybe do baking school in France, to having a really keen interest in obstetrics and medicine in general. And you'll hear her talk about that and her experiences in the OR and doing rounds and learning all about things because her dad is a physician. You'll hear about her story into dance and all the things that she's learned about herself in dance, and also why dance would be perfectly suited for her and what her path is for the next couple years at least. She's going to talk to you about how you can motivate your homeschool high school student or not. She's going to share about her travel experiences to Africa and to the Arctic and what it's like to be a teenager in a pandemic. Of course, we're going to talk about what she's doing after her graduation, which is, I think the fridge says 72 days, 72-day countdown until she travels to Toronto. We're going to talk about her approach to her education. Did I just say her approach? Yes, I did, for a reason. But you'll be surprised that though I have a self-directed educational approach, she's actually a very academic kiddo. So listen to this podcast episode not for how to do homeschool high school, but rather to listen to how do we approach our kids so that we can facilitate their vision for their education, and also to kind of unpackage the person that they are. I think they start out as a gift under the Christmas tree, and we get to slowly unwrap who they are, and they get to help us with our efforts. They're actually helping us as they learn about themselves and learn to individuate. And it's a long-term process, and there's no magic trick, there's no manual, sadly. There is no magic to this, but there is a constant unfolding and watching, and you'll actually see in this episode her interests along the way, how they really did point her in the direction of where she's going now. We're going to talk about her sibling relationships. We're going to talk about, can I just say, I continue to misuse the word pingo, which is a formation of the earth in the Arctic, and I call it a pingu. So this will be the only time that I correct myself. They're pingos, not pingus. And also, we talk about lab experiments and how Madelyn has had to answer some pretty goofy questions from bystanders over the years, as you can imagine. It's not just homeschool moms that get the weird questions, but the homeschooled kids do. And she also addresses that question about socialization, and she also addresses the question that she got one time about what if you were in school? Because if you were in school, you could do lab experiments. And she answers that, but we didn't actually go on to say that she actually did a ton of lab experiments at home. She did curriculum with Apologia 4 years in a row, and there is an incredibly intensive curriculum with a ton of lab experiments. And I have had all manners of dead animals lying on my kitchen cabinets and random things in jars that might explode, or we're growing mold or fungus, or you name it, it has been in my kitchen. So she's done a ton of lab experiments. She's going to answer the response to when people ask why she's not in school, especially in the grocery store, and why she didn't choose to go to high school and remain homeschooling, because in our area, homeschool high school is really uncommon. She's going to share about her experience of life on a homestead and her response to my question, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Can you believe I asked her that question? Because everybody asks that question at that age. And if you know what I know, I'm 47 and I've learned, I don't know, it might change. We all don't know exactly what we're going to do for the rest of our life. But I am really excited to share this episode with you. And if you have a few moments just to share a few tidbits of your life advice for this new high school homeschool graduate, I would be most appreciative. And if you happen to listen to the episode and learn a little bit about her, I'm happy to share whatever comments you have with her. So have fun. And introducing my homeschool high school graduate, Madelyn.